This is Rachel Dolezal, and I just wanted to let you know that my book, In Full Color, has been selected for the Amazon Kindle monthly deal for March. So pick this up on Kindle for $4.99 throughout March. And you can also get a signed copy of the hardcover book at my website, racheldolezal.com. I will personalize a little message to you and autograph it and send it on its way. So it's at retail price, $24.99 on my website, signed, or on Kindle, you can get it for $4.99.
Hi, I'm Mia St. John, and you're listening to Fascination Street podcast.
I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This is another guest from the upcoming romantic comedy Ask Me to Dance. This time I bring to you Courtney Shrem. Sometimes she's also Courtney Warner. Courtney Warner Shrem. In this episode, we talk about what got her into acting, how Ask Me to Dance came across her desk, and how being a part of this film has changed her life. Obviously, she tells us some of the experiences she had on set, working with all of these great people that we keep talking to. We also talk a little bit about her husband, Charlize Theron, who is kind of a big deal in the story of Bitcoin, in the history of Bitcoin, in the rise of Bitcoin, if you will. So we talk about Bitcoin, we talk about her husband, how they met. One of the really cool things that she was the first person to ever do with Bitcoin, which is kind of cool. Of course, we talk a little bit about COVID and how her family spent COVID, because that's a thing that keeps happening, is COVID. And we talk about perseverance, why you shouldn't give up on your dreams, and how being tenacious about a very specific thing, in this case, dance, can transfer over into other aspects of your life. It was a lot of fun talking to Courtney. I learned a lot about the crypto stuff. Ask Me to Dance is still coming. It's probably going to be somewhere in late February, early March, something like that. I'm keeping my eyes and ears peeled. And this is my conversation with Bitcoin advocate, actress, and now producer, Courtney Warner Shrem.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Courtney Shrem, Courtney Warner, Courtney Shrem, Courtney Warner Shrem. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. Courtney, I've had 11,000 people on the show just to talk about this movie, Ask Me to Dance, which we're going to talk about later. But first, I like to kind of get to know the guest. I like to start from, where they were born and raised, because it kind of helps us understand how they got to where they are. So where were you born and raised? Where'd you grow up?
I was born in York, Pennsylvania. I moved to New York City in 2002. So I was in New York City for over close to 20 years. And then I met my husband. We live in Sarasota and we moved here 6 years ago.
So you went from York to New York?
York to New York.
That's weird.
Yeah, pursuing the arts. That's why I left.
Oh, yeah. There's not a whole lot of arts in York, Pennsylvania.
There's theater, like, off Broadway.
Oh, that's far from Broadway. Is that where they make those York peppermint patties?
It is. And York Barbell and
sweet.
Good old famous York, Pennsylvania.
Can I have one?
I don't have any, but I'm sure you can probably go to a website and get it.
Okay, I guess not then. Hey, it was worth a shot. Well, what did your parents do?
So my mom had her own aerobics business for 30 years. It wasn't even just training. It was also she integrated into the school systems as well. So she would work with the children and the elderly. She'd work on like health and fitness and nutrition and stuff like that. So she had that business for a long time. My dad is no longer in the picture. He committed suicide in 2010. God rest his soul. So yeah, it's my mom and she's my best friend. And she actually lives in Sarasota as well. She's been wanting to move here for 15 years and never got the chance to do it. And Charlie was getting ready to propose to me and I didn't know it. And we were coming here on vacation to help her look. And then my mom was like, do you want to come help us look for a place for me to live? And then Charlie was like, well, actually, I love this place. Why don't we all three move here for transition and then figure it out from there? And that's exactly what happened. We got married and we've been here 6 years later. My mom lives literally 7 minutes down the road.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. First of all, my heart goes out to you. I am so sorry about your father.
Thank you. What happens to us makes us stronger, though. So
that is what I keep hearing. So considering we're coming up on 2 years. Oh, I think we passed 2 years of this pandemic. We should all be super strong.
Pretty much with everything that's going on. Absolutely.
Lord. So you moved to New York to pursue the arts. What kind of arts?
So I was a dancer first.
What kind of dancer?
Street jazz, hip hop. That's what I would do.
Like step up?
Yeah, pretty much kind of stuff like that. I can't break dance, but I can do, the funky stuff.
Like Jabberwocky and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, like isolation and stuff like that. So I was living at Broadway Dance Center. I was there like 15 hours a day auditioning for like Reebok and, like all these different commercials and stuff. And then I was starting to get older and the competition was getting more fierce with dance. So I was like competing against 17-year-olds. So I was like, maybe I should just go in a different direction. And then that's when I crossed into acting. And I've been doing it since.
Why performing? What about growing up in York, Pennsylvania made you decide, you know what, there needs to be a spotlight on me?
Honestly, I love to perform because I just love inspiring other people. I love telling stories through no words and sometimes words. That's why I was a dancer for so long, because it's cathartic. It's very therapeutic to be in the arts. And also, when you're in the arts, you have more pull in making things change in the world for the better.
Sort of an inspiration to others, if you will.
Yeah.
Who were inspirations to you? Like, I can't imagine there's a whole lot of Jabberwocky walking around York, Pennsylvania. You're all more than you think.
Yeah. Inspirations. I've always been inspired by Charlize Theron. I don't know why. She was so breathtakingly beautiful, but she was also just so sensitive when she would act. But she came off truthful. And I think that I was like, I want to be like her. And then Meryl Streep has always been my favorite. And then my mom, she's been my inspiration through everything.
In what way?
She's just been my rock. I mean, I've definitely had my ups and downs in New York City. I think we all have, especially pursuing this business.
Sure.
And my grandmother, those two were my rocks, especially the whole time I was in New York.
Was your mom in New York when you were in New York, or was she back in Old York?
I moved to New York and not knowing anyone, not having a job, not having a place to live, and literally just pounding the pavements, started cocktail waitressing, kind of going by the seat of my pants. I wouldn't say I made it at that time. I was struggling a lot and I almost gave up everything. And then I don't know if anyone knows who my husband is, but he had his little sabbatical and I decided to come home and be there for him. And then that's when we moved to Sarasota.
So for those listening, Courtney Warner's husband is Time Warner. And no. No, his name is Charlie Shrem. He has a pretty fascinating story as well. Courtney, how scared were you when you moved? I know that York, Pennsylvania is not the smallest city in America, but New York City kind of is the biggest city in America. So how scared were you when you didn't know anybody? I'm assuming you didn't have a job. You just went there and started flying with your pants.
I was 22 years old and I literally just had stars in my eyes. I wasn't scared. I was just like, yes, let's go. I'm going to do this. I stayed with my cousin's friend, lived with her for a little bit, rent free. Thank you for letting me do that. And then I just kind of like found my way and I found my husband, which is my best friend, Charlie, and he kind of like saved me just like I saved him. We kind of like saved ourselves. And what's really an ironic story, I don't know if you know this about us. I was a cocktail waitress at EVR in New York City.
That's his club, right?
That was the nightclub that he was a silent investor in. And that was the first nightclub to accept Bitcoin as transaction in New York City. And I was the cocktail waitress that did the first transaction for Bitcoin.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How cool is that?
I know. It's amazing. It's like, we're like the Bitcoin love story. And, you know, it's fascinating how our lives have really intertwined in such a magical way. And now he's getting like the producer bug. It's crazy. But I've been there for him with the whole I went to the very first Bitcoin conference in San Jose, California in 2013. We first started dating in 2013, and it was just a wild ride from there. Travel everywhere. And literally, I was the only woman at the Bitcoin conference in San Jose, California.
And the only one who was not a nerd. No offense, Charlie.
I will always be a nerd.
Oh, sweet. So we're going to talk about crypto and Bitcoin and all that stuff in a little bit. Also, we're going to talk about Ask Me to Dance. But first, let's get to the important stuff. You're living in New York.
Yeah.
For how long?
17, 18 years.
That's a long time. What's the best pizza in New York?
I'd have to say Joe's Pizza.
Wrong. The best pizza in New York is not in New York. It is in Rahway, New Jersey at Nancy's Townhouse.
I will keep that in mind.
My wife and I have been to New York a few times for, shows and whatever. We have had a ton of pizza all over New York and a couple in New Jersey. And there is a place, it's Rahway, New Jersey. Is not too far from New York. I think it's 6 train stops from Madison Square Garden or something like that.
Is it like in Hoboken area?
It's over by Linden and all that. I don't know. I don't know New Jersey, but there's a train station, and across from the train station it's called Nancy's Townhouse, and it's just a family-run Italian restaurant, and it is the most amazing pie. Oh, and this is a little tech weirdo. For some reason, right in front of the Rahway train station, there is a statue of Nikola Tesla. I don't know why.
That's odd.
Why did you never give up? You said you almost gave up a few times because it was so hard in New York. Why didn't you give up? Because
I literally had the passion and I was doing other things. I was working in radiology as a tech assistant in a hospital. I actually graduated from VOTech in the medical field. So I actually had that to fall back on. And I was cocktail waitressing, and I was doing all this different stuff. And I was like, this just isn't what I should be doing. I need to be working, like literally performing, because this is not what's making me happy. And honestly, it got to the point where I had so many highs and so many lows. And those highs were amazing and those lows were shitty. But at the same time, I knew in my gut that I was able to just keep going. And I knew that I had the passion and the love for it, that I didn't want to give up.
How has that perseverance and tenacity helped you in other aspects? By that, I mean, once you left New York, you didn't leave that tenacity behind. How has that served you?
Honestly, I think I'm more stronger than I was 25 years ago. I feel like every wall you hit, it just makes me want to go through it even harder.
So you're all, bring it, universe. What you got?
Yeah.
Nice.
I really do believe everything happens for a reason.
Well, I do know that everything happens.
Yes.
Why acting? I know you do voiceover and you do some other things, but why acting? What about, for lack of a better term, interpretive dance? What about that made you transition to acting? Why acting?
Because I can still put myself out there as me through someone else. So if I'm doing a character that's completely different than me, I believe every character that anyone plays, there is a piece of them inside them.
Do you think that is coincidence? Like, do you think that, there just happens to be a piece of said character in the actors? Or do you think that the actors wouldn't have been chosen for the role if they didn't embody at least a piece?
Yeah, definitely. And I think you would probably have to resemble them a little bit. Obviously, that's with casting. You have to be that vision of what the director wants or the writer.
So you're saying I shouldn't audition to play Othello?
I mean, you could, you could, they might have a different vision when they see you. You never know.
Hey, that's true. That's true. So, ladies and gentlemen, Ask Me to Dance, written and directed and starring, and I think produced by previous guest of the show, two-time guest of the show, Tom Malloy.
Mm-hmm.
Also stars Jesse Kove, previous guest of the show, and Gabe Jarret, previous guest of the show. How did this role come across your desk? How did this happen?
So basically, I was posting a lot on social media with Twitter and Instagram. And I was posting a lot of like crypto stuff. And I was posting a lot of like acting and voiceover and so forth. And there was a fan of Charlie, which my husband in crypto, he had a crypto fan that actually was following him and saw that his wife was an actress. And he had this other friend had a friend, which was Tom Malloy.
So Tom Malloy is a friend of a friend of a fan?
A friend
of your husband.
He's friend fan of my husband. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So basically, the fan had a friend, which was Tom Malloy, and Tom Malloy had this script for years that he wanted to direct, act in, and also produce, but he just never did it. And then he mentioned my name to Tom, and I met Tom, and I did a table read with Tom, and we actually went to Puerto Rico and signed the contract for the film.
Why there?
Honestly, we were actually headed there to meet some friends. And then Tom was like, well, why don't I just come meet you guys? And that's where we can physically meet, because we didn't like see each other in person.
Yeah, because you're in Florida and he's in New York, right?
Yeah, but it was amazing. It was fun. And we got to know each other and it was awesome. And then he was like, you got the role. So that's kind of how it went down.
And where was that filmed?
Rochester, New York.
Oh, cool.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
You know those popping phone handle things that you see on everyone's phones nowadays? Well, how would you like to put your logo on them? Does your podcast or band need new merch? Do you want to bring attention to your new book or film? Maybe you need something unique for your Patreon or crowdfunding campaign. Then visit thelogopop.com, where you can customize them with the logo of your podcast, band, business, art, school mascot, or whatever else you can think of. These are way more affordable than you may think at thelogopop.com. Mention where you heard this ad and get free shipping on your entire order. Remember, that's thelogopop.com to order your custom popping phone handles. That's thelogopop.com.
Let's get back into it.
So this was Tom's directorial debut, if I understand correctly. And he had such a wonderful experience that he only wants to direct comedies. How cool is that? That means that all you actors made it easy on him.
Yes. I do have to put out there that I really, really, really appreciate Tom, because he is the very first person in my entire career that actually believed in me and gave me this opportunity, and now has changed my life.
How has it changed your life?
Well, basically, we're like producing partners now. It's amazing. Like, we're just going to meetings together and doing all these different. I'm actually going to be filming another movie
in Scotland.
I was written into that. So that's what I'm working on now.
Oh, how cool is that?
And we leave February 17th.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
That is amazing. Do you have any idea when Ask Me to Dance is coming out? Now, I've heard things like Valentine's Day. I've heard things like I have absolutely no idea. And I've heard things like sometime in 2022.
I would say probably a couple weeks after Valentine's Day.
So around March 1st or something?
Yeah, probably like late February, early March, something like that. Yeah.
Are you a producer on this as well or no?
For which one? For
Ask Me to Dance.
Ask Me to Dance. Well, my husband got the bug and actually got involved as well. So that was his first film to do as a producer. So now he has the bug and he's been on the train with us. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, I don't think there's a vaccine or an antidote for that so far.
No.
I don't think anybody's even working on it. So best of luck to him. I hope he comes through it okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience on the set of Ask Me to Dance. I know that besides the people that I mentioned, there's also some other cool people like Joyce DeWitt and that one girl from Step Up.
Brianna Evigan.
Yes, her. What was your experience on the set of that film?
That was really cool too, because I was a dancer when I was younger, and I like looked at all the Step Up movies and looked at Honey, and I was just like kind of like a little starstruck that I was like actually going to be co-starring with Brianna Evigan. So that was amazing. Joyce DeWitt is adorable. She would call me Cordy Bear.
Oh,
So that was awesome. Even Catherine Mary Stewart from Weekend at Bernie's, she played my mom. So yeah, it was fascinating. Gabe is funny. He's so funny. And Jesse Kove is hilarious. So he played my fiance in the movie.
Oh, the dumb guy.
Yeah. Ron.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Obviously, I am looking forward to seeing this film. Otherwise, I wouldn't have reached out to so many people from the movie. I am over the moon. I can't wait to see this film. I hope it gets a theater release, but from what I understand, in the times that we're in, that's probably a little unlikely. But I have a great sound system in my house, so I can't wait to watch it here.
Well, I can't wait to see it too. I think it's going to be really exciting. And I hope you enjoy it when you see it.
I can't imagine that I won't, with such a wonderful cast. And I've spoken to half the cast, and you guys are all super cool and nice. So I can't imagine it's not going to be a fun time to be had by all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Courtney. Let's talk crypto stuff.
Uh-oh.
Earlier, you said you went to, I think it was the very first Bitcoin conference or crypto conference, or it was a Bitcoin conference, right?
It was a Bitcoin conference. Yeah.
Because back then that was the only crypto, right?
Yeah. San Jose was the very first one.
And that was in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And you had been dating your husband for, I don't know, 6 months?
April 23rd, 2013 is when we started dating.
Well, I mean, if you just had to guess.
I was the crazy girl that started dating this crypto guy and went around the world with him.
What makes a young lady decide that she's going to go from New York to San Jose, California for a nerd convention about finance with some dude she barely knows?
Well, if you put it that way. No, I'm just kidding.
Now that's a movie I watched.
I never really looked at it that way. No, honestly, I was just so infatuated with his personality, and he was just so adorable. And I was just so madly in love with him in such an early stage. And I was just so fascinated by the whole thing. Like, it was so innovative, and the fact that people could just be so creative and so open, and the energy was just so positive. It wasn't negative like it is, now it's a crazy world. I mean, it was crazy in 2013, but just seeing all the different ideas, and just everyone had passion in their eyes. And it was just so awesome to be around. So I was like, hey, if he's in this, then I'll try it, and I never looked back. And now look where we are today. Like, I'm married to him. We have a great life together, and we're diversifying, we're in real estate. Like, we're doing a lot of different other things. And then with acting and film. And it's crazy how we have all these opportunities because I went to that one conference.
That's pretty crazy, right? And also, let's not forget, you said it at the top of the show, and I think it's super cool. It's historic even. You're the first waitress to process a transaction for Bitcoin in the first bar that accepted Bitcoin. That's super cool.
There was a picture of us, I think, in Bloomberg in 2013, and there's actually a picture with the iPad, and I'm doing the first transaction with somebody that's taking crypto.
Well, that photo better be hanging up in EVR. Is EVR still around?
EVR is Pepper West now. It's a sports bar now.
Gross. All right. Is Charlie still a partner?
He is not, no.
Yeah, see, sports sucks. So back then there was only Bitcoin, and now there's so many different cryptos. I don't even think the Winklevoss twins know how many cryptos there are now. Do you guys play around with all of them, or do you just stick to a couple of the bigger main ones?
I will always be a firm believer in Bitcoin and Ethereum, because Bitcoin has been the vehicle of all of this, and Ethereum was the one behind it. And then everything else, I don't know. I feel like those are the ones that make everything else keep going.
Interesting.
If it wasn't for Bitcoin, none of this would ever existed.
Sure.
So
Sure. No, that makes sense because it's the one that got a foothold, right? It was the one that broke down the barriers, so to speak, of alternative finance.
right.
Why are you so passionate about Bitcoin? You said earlier you were posting about Bitcoin and acting and Bitcoin and Bitcoin and Bitcoin. Well, why are you so passionate about Bitcoin? What makes Bitcoin so attractive to you? What's so cool about it?
It is a social experiment. So there's so much you can do with crypto, and it has nothing to do with money. Like there's people that are doing real estate, there's, health fields. Everyone is working on Bitcoin, and it's a way to be private, but not be anonymous. So I believe in it because people have more control of what they want to do with it.
So it's private and not anonymous. And I think that at the beginning, when it was anonymous, that's when everybody was getting into trouble, right? Because it was too anonymous and that was breaking some rules.
Right.
And this may be the dumbest question you've ever been asked. Do you guys still trade Bitcoin, buy and sell and all that things?
Yes.
I know almost nothing about Bitcoin. I know that it goes up and down like stocks and things, and that it goes up and down based on who the hell knows, just like everything else. And right now, I gotta feel like it's on sale, right? Like it's so low right now. It's insane. It's lower than it's been in a couple of years, I think, right?
Come back up again now.
Oh, well, of course. That's what they do. So now's when everybody should buy.
Yes. What does he say? That when blood's on the streets, that's when you buy.
Whoa, that's hardcore.
Not literally, but
No, literally. That means when everybody has committed suicide because they lost so much money, that's when it's time to go.
No, it's just a quote that people say.
I don't know if you have an answer to this, but I think I read just a day or two ago that they're about to start instituting some rules and regulatory policies and things with regard to crypto. Does that scare you at all?
It's the internet. So if they can make rules of the internet, then.
So you're of the opinion they're going to make rules from the FCC side and not the FTC side? Like they're going to make rules about it from an internet standpoint and not from a finance standpoint?
I just think, Bitcoin won't exist anymore if it's regulated, because if it's regulated, then it's not private anymore. See what I'm saying?
Gotcha. I was just curious. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And that's what I meant about anonymous, is that it can be tracked, like no one's trying to hide anything.
So it's trackable. Let's just say you can see what I bought and what I paid for it, but you don't necessarily need to know my home address.
Exactly.
All right, rock on. So now you and your husband, Charlie, are in the movie producing business.
Yes.
You guys going to produce TV shows too, or just movies, or see what happens?
Whatever kind of work comes our way. We just keep meeting different people, and it's been an amazing experience. So
what about producing entices? I know your husband he just has an addictive personality for new shit. But what about producing entices the two of you?
I just think it's so magical to see how a film is made from beginning to end. And from an actor's perspective, it's really cool to see behind the camera as opposed to in front of the camera, because you kind of see where all that magic happens. And it's just really cool to experience something like that, as opposed to just being an actor and being on set for like 3 days, 4 days, or a month, or whatever, where producing, you're literally in that project for like a year or more, depending on what the project is.
Nice.
And I love working with people. So that's another reason why I'm in this business, because I love people.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But a lot of people suck. What do you do about those people?
Let's just say the majority of people are cool.
Yeah, let's just say that. Oh, Lord. When is enough Bitcoin enough? Like if you have all the Bitcoins, do you stop? Like the Winklevi, they're still doing Bitcoin stuff, right? I don't know if you know, but.
I don't look at Bitcoin as money. I look at it like it's just changing the world in such positive ways. Like I knew Bitcoin when it wasn't money in the beginning. I literally thought it was an alternative payment system. And then it turned out to be like my whole world.
That's a great road to go down. I told you already, I know almost nothing about Bitcoin. And it sounds like you might know, I don't know, a whole lot more. So what else is it? You said you don't really look at it as just money. What else is it?
It's ideas.
Huh? What?
I mean, you look at these NFTs, you look at all this stuff. It's literally an idea that turns into something that crypto can be a vehicle to it. Do you know, like, there's a ledger, and then, like, as far as like when I said the medical field, your medical records, if it's on a ledger, it's private, but it's trackable. You see what I'm saying? So it's like people can't look at medical records or
Right.
where they're exposed right now to the world. And I think they're trying to make it a little bit more private
With Bitcoin?
with crypto.
I'm sorry, with crypto. So,
Yeah.
okay. So most people, when they're talking about Bitcoin, Bitcoin is money in most people's eyes, as far as I know, the common idiots like myself.
Right.
Are you talking more about the back end, like the blockchain part of the whole ecosystem?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, cool. Well, that makes a little more sense.
Oh, you thought I meant Bitcoin? No, blockchain. I'm sorry.
No, that's on me, man. I told you I'm struggling through this as best I can, trying to learn. I'm old. And so what they say about old dogs and new money, I don't understand it. So I'm really struggling.
I'm still trying to figure it out too. And
And you've been in it for a while, so that makes me feel better.
I have. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's like, how is anyone else supposed to understand it when I still can't fully, I honestly just tell people it's instantaneous cash that literally you can transfer to another country. Somebody has a cell phone in another country, then you can transfer that money with minimum fees. And it's also like a social experiment that literally changed the world. So my husband, he was socially awkward when he was younger.
What?
Yeah. And that was like literally a way for him to have a community. That's what it is. Bitcoin to me is community. That is where I met the coolest people, the most honest people, the most sensitive, really creative, good people. And I think that's what makes me want to be part of this community, because it's just amazing and it just keeps growing and it's fascinating.
I love that you keep using the F word on my show. It is my favorite thing.
What did I say?
Fascinating.
Oh, okay.
Love it.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
Texas has a reputation for being tough on crime, but beneath the surface, buried in the darkness that only those affected by tragedy know, is the reality of a flawed and insufficient justice system. More than 60% of violent crimes in Texas go unsolved, and many are at the hands of offenders who should have never had the opportunity, madmen who slipped through the cracks. On Gone Cold Podcast, Texas True Crime, you'll find in-depth accounts of unsolved homicides, missing persons cases, and other mysteries throughout Texas. From the historic and perplexing case of the 1948 disappearance of a Denton co-ed, Virginia Carpenter, to the unthinkable, the Orange, Texas abduction and murder of 4-year-old Denaria Finley in 2002. You can find and subscribe to Gone Cold, Texas True Crime, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Let's get back into it.
You don't sound too worried about any impending regulatory commissions or regulatory agencies getting involved. But at the same time, you did mention that you guys are diversifying. Y'all are into real estate. You're into movie business. You're into some other things. This is going to sound super disrespectful, and I do not mean it at all. But if Bitcoin is so cool, why not be 100% in Bitcoin? Why are you diversifying?
Because I think you should diversify in everything. Why just be in one thing when you can be parts of different things and be creative in so many other ways?
I only asked that question for the assholes that would ask that question.
Yeah.
So you have all the Bitcoins right now at your house. I can see them right there behind you. When you use them, obviously you're just using a tiny little infinitesimal percentage of one. Can you explain how that works to me? Like, can I buy a cup of coffee in New York with a Bitcoin? And if so, how?
Yeah, there's Bitcoin ATMs as well.
Okay, so what comes out of there?
You have an address and you actually just use the address, put it in the machine, and then you can get cash out for Bitcoin, and then you can buy your cup of coffee.
So like the ATM is sort of a currency exchange point of service?
Mm-hmm. Or you can go to a Bitcoin exchange, on your phone, like Coinbase or whoever and literally transfer money that way.
Cool. Do you have a recommended, I don't even know, can you recommend? You're so involved in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't
You
know
probably
if I
shouldn't do that. Yeah, let's not do that. Do you, on a regular basis, like, do you use Bitcoin to buy things and sell things? You personally?
Yeah, like sometimes if I'm working like for a voiceover gig, they'll give me Bitcoin or cash. Like I can choose which one I want or whatever. But other than that, not really.
So Courtney's not ordering a pizza with Bitcoin?
Charlie does, and I do.
That makes sense. Do you guys talk about Bitcoin and crypto and all that? Like when you're at home and you're just playing with your dog, do y'all just, hey, guess what happened in Bitcoin today?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about what the price is, and we're like, either it's going to go up or it's going to die completely. And we talk about that, like we would be okay, regardless of what happens. And that's another reason why you do have to diversify, because you have to protect yourself, because you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, look at the world today with the pandemic.
Let's talk about the pandemic. You and your husband and your mom moved to Sarasota 2017, I think you said. What'd you guys do for COVID?
Well, we all got it.
Oh, congratulations.
Charlie and I both had it Christmas time of last year, and my mom had it last year around New Year's. Then my brother didn't have it for so long, and then he finally got it. It's crazy. But honestly, we just stayed in our house and
y'all hibernated like the rest of us?
Yeah, hibernated and just kind of batted some ideas together of what we were going to do next. And then this opportunity came along with Ask Me to Dance. And that was a COVID compliant set, which was crazy because we didn't think we would be doing that during a pandemic. So we were really lucky that way.
Especially in New York State.
Yeah.
I feel like New York, they really cracked down on bleeding.
That was in May that we shot.
Of 21?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I can't believe it's been almost a year already. It's crazy.
Do you think that that's pretty typical? I mean, I know that you're new to the producing game, but do you think that now that you're on that side of the film business, do you think you're going to see more of that where you're like, holy shit, we produced a movie 2 years ago and it's finally coming out?
I thought it happened pretty fast, which was awesome. But I think that's typical. I think that's typical when you're creating a film, and it usually takes about that amount of time.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. We only shot for 15 days, which was insane.
The whole film shot for 15 days?
Yeah.
Wow. Isn't that crazy? It's 15-day shoot and it takes a year to get out.
Well, with the, development, the script, the concept, the whole thing.
Of course.
And then, getting casting and so forth. But yeah.
Sure. Wow. What do you want out of the producer side of your life?
Honestly, I really realized I wanted to stay in the acting side as well and maybe not do as much producing. I don't know. It depends. I'm really excited that I'm in this other film. And now I'm starting to be able to prove, that I can do this regardless if I'm on behind the camera or in front of the camera.
Sweet. Do you ever want to direct? Are you that far down the rabbit hole or you're not there yet?
I'm not there yet.
Nice.
But I respect people that do that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I think that is a natural part of the disease. Once you get a little more infected, I'm sure that desire will start to...
And you'll want to start writing and stuff like that. Yeah.
You need to throw a warning across old Charlie there because he seems like he just jumped in with both feet with this producing thing. Like he's all excited and stuff like it's a new baby. And
yeah,
he's going to get even sicker with that bug. So good for him.
Yeah, he loves it.
How much beach time did you guys do? I don't know where Sarasota is, but I know it's in a state with a beach.
Yeah, we actually live on an island. So we're literally...
I'm sorry. Did you say on an island?
Yeah.
How many people are on the island? Is it just 3?
There's 500 houses on this island that we're on, but we're literally like maybe 7 minutes down from the city. So there's a causeway bridge that literally connects our island to the city. It's beautiful. I recommend driving on it every single day.
Every day. So there's 500 houses on this island. Did y'all put up barricades so nobody could come in or leave when COVID happened? Shut the island down?
It's a gated community, so it's...
So yes.
Yeah. You could keep to yourself, let's say that.
That's awesome. Sounds like a pretty rough neighborhood. to be in. I hope that you guys are able to walk around and enjoy the outside during all this COVID stuff, because I hear that outdoors really helps.
Yeah, it does actually. When you get that vitamin D, that's your antidote.
Nice. What's your dog's name?
Baz.
Like Baz Luhrmann. Nice.
We rescued him at 4 weeks old, and he'll be 4 in September.
Oh, who rescued who?
He's a 9/11 baby.
What does that mean?
He literally was part of 7 dogs in 1 litter, and they were born on 9/11.
9/11, 2000.
No, not that. 4 years ago. No.
I was like, what an old dog.
No, it was September 11th.
What an old dog to rescue.
No.
Well, how sweet is that? Why did you name the dog Baz Luhrmann?
Because he's our love story.
Oh my gosh.
And then he rescued us.
See who rescued who. Courtney, where can people find you on social media?
They can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Do you need those links?
Sure, why not?
Can you tell I've never done this before?
Yes.
My Instagram is CRTAC, the number 4 LIF. My Facebook is Courtney M. Warner and then /Shrem. And then at Court M. Warner is on Twitter. And then Courtney Warner 3, I'm on IMDb.
Okay, so this was just fun for me to ask the guest to try and pull all that information out of their butt.
Yeah.
Folks, just scroll down to the show notes. All of those social media handles will be there. I only do that just to make the guest flustered. That's fun for me. Why is your whichever one of those handle CRTLBRN4LFTZ?
Oh, it's Court Act for Life.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I was like, she's just throwing out random letters and numbers over here.
No. Court Act for Life.
All right, cool. As we're heading out, Courtney, is there anything that we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you about that you specifically wanted to talk about today?
I just want to let everyone know that when you're getting ready to give up, stick it out, because something in the universe will come to you and tell you what you should be doing. And you'll be so elated when that happens. And cherish the ones you love, because you never know what's going to happen. And take care of each other.
What a great and positive note to go out on. Courtney Shrem, Courtney Warner Shrem, Court Act for Life. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day and your hectic schedule to hang out and let us get to know more about you, Ask Me to Dance, and Bitcoin.
Yes, thank you so much. It was very nice to meet you.
Thank you. The pleasure was all mine. And you have a great rest of your week.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2001 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is from the song Say My Name off the 2021 album Underdog Anthems, used with permission from Jack's Hollow. If you like the show, tell a friend. Subscribe and rate and review the show on iTunes and wherever else you download podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All the episodes are available there as well. Check me out on Vero at Fascination Street Pod and TikTok at Fascination Street Pod. And again, thanks for listening.